He has to snap up 8 tons of sand a day just to get a lunch, and how can all the bulls laughing at him ever wonder who men really are? Just a few days ago, he was eating, drinking, and enjoying himself on his 100 million yacht surrounded by wine and family when Annie, a cleaner, got the job of cleaning a luxury yacht. He has never seen such a luxurious decoration. Quickly took out a mobile phone and friends to share. At this time Carl suddenly woke up and hurriedly hung up the phone, but inadvertently saw Carl buttocks of the little mouse tattoo. He diligent hygiene can be. The other party with a very proud tone ordered him to buy fruit character of and do not want to be this guess. On the spot said that Carl had never been so simply did not intend to immediately fire Annie. Love a Chinese Singlish woman inserted like a table and did not back down to ask for their due remuneration. King Carl said, "Don't go away, we'll take her to the other side of the Atlantic Ocean and way a look at the yacht has been started." "Okay, but the woman died and next oyos I looked at even the loan to buy tools were soaked in water and secretly cursed the damn man was struck by lightning." He and friends to ridicule the matter did not expect friends. After finding out the real identity of the man on the internet, and doesn't care how much money Carl has. At the moment, he just wants to let the other side drown in the sea. Perhaps the curse has been affirmed by the god. The drunken Carl who dances on the deck accidentally fell down. He was washed onto the beach by the waves, but the brain seems to be in the water. Unexpectedly lost all memory. Sister first time learned that the matter can be in order to less people and he split the house unexpectedly. Cruel said. The matter was secretly placed on the internet by the gossip reporter and could not suppress the joy in her heart, but only this still cannot calm the anger. He wants to build a lifetime memory for Carl while he is still in the state of being released. Hey, hey, hey. Love you again with my husband's mamation. You met him soon. He said he was his love and tried to make up good memories of the two, but Carl was reluctant to say. My grandchild sent my aunt to finish your homework and luckily Annie had Belle and he said that Carl had a tattoo of a cartoon mouse on his ass and Carl pulled his pants and saw a really childish tattoo. It doesn't matter that Fallerver baby, the super rich kid, has amnesia and he has a sad face and is cleaned by the female mansion and goes home to look at the short and shabby house in front of him. The loss in the heart is more intense and the most let Carl collapse is that she actually had 3 daughters with this woman. Carl cannot accept the sad fact. So holding the last hope to ask him attack team no cloud what and said because he cannot, so these are adopted children. Carl's heart was once again a huge blow and Anne's revenge on him is not only this. On the same day to cajole him to work on the side of the pamper Carl where to suffer such suffering after coming back in the bathroom looking at the mirror doubt life then immediately jump out of the window want to escape cannot run out of how far was found by and he hurriedly said he was just to buy toilet paper. And then he runs back and since there's no way to fight it, he's just trying to fit in so Carl reluctantly puts on the ugly clothes Annie has prepared for her. Also take the initiative to the kitchen show cooking can finally because too hot fell on the ground delicious soup raised how and not only comfort. I told him to clean up what I thought was a simple revenge attack. Kim let the piece never expected is that the daughters all fell in love with the sudden emergence of the father of a single parent family. They are extremely eager to have a father's love. Nanos Lion's story had just turned off the light and walked out of the bedroom when Anne saw Carl waiting at the door frame to rest with him. Despite all his good words, he was driven mercilessly into the grocery store and early the next morning Carl went back to work on the construction site. Clumsy, he went out into the sun in front of everyone and it was a double whammy of flesh and mind when he came home from work and his legs didn't seem to listen. Once inside, he collapsed on the sofa and passed out, but Annie told him to go shopping at the mall immediately. Then you buy a suit and the bosses give up on you no more than you can make me feel bad about love and love can't make. My 6th translation of this thing you are cool more or even if it is very reluctant. But for that family responsibility she still obediently went to the mall to see the food on the menu and had to cook dinner for the whole family at night. After dinner was arranged to collect powder for the dog and specially said some nice words to Anne before going to bed. Annie began to see that the man seemed to be becoming more agreeable to Carl as he adjusted to the construction site life and his relationship with work became better and better. In addition to his work and housework, he taught his younger daughter to ride a bike and bonded with his older daughter who was in the rebellious phase of youth. Pull high watch daddy so I can get thee pull Mom. Annie accidentally found the figure of her eldest daughter and scolded her all the way not to leave her sister at home, but when she ran home anxiously, but found two daughters and Carl is playing happy, but she still reprimanded the big daughter. Carl looked at some distress, then ran to intercede for the big daughter. One day Carl got angry and walked away without looking back. Benny didn't pay much attention until he looked at Carl's well-organized refrigerator and realized how much this man cared about this family. The first thing Carl 3-star back is to apologize, to look at and is for the test nurse and study hurriedly take the initiative to make coffee for him, but the hand was accidentally injured. Annie nervously rose to clean his wounds and then gently bandaged him, and for the first time he felt cared for and there was love in his eyes. And Annie may not have realized that she was also unwittingly falling in love with the man in front of her as time passed and Carl became fully integrated into the family. She would accompany her daughter to run in the field, ride a bike, relax, eat delicious ice cream, and act with indescribable warmth and intimacy. When the eldest daughter fell out of love, she would send the most sincere concern in time, and under Carl's meticulous care, Annie also had enough time to learn and thought that the good life would last forever. But an accident is quietly approaching this top-rich second-generation amnesia. She was taken home by a single mother to make a husband. He shows great affection for his 3 daughters, and this is the first time that they feel a father's love. He wanted to tell Carl the truth, but he hesitated when he saw the faces of his daughters and the family went to the beach to play. But their intimate picture was sent to the internet. Was struggling to find Carl's super rich father saw and did not know the accident is forcing Carl suddenly kneel down to propose. He said since lost the memory there again.
Hey, Papi! Sophia! Hi, Magda! Let me just drop this in the house.
Found that the door unexpectedly stopped a million car. Carl looked at the sudden appearance of strangers, very natural, said.
Papi. Sophia. Magda. Oh my God, I remember. I'm cured. The doctor said my memory could come back suddenly, and he was right. I saw Papi. It came back. Honey, ask me anything. Ask me about my childhood in Mexico City, about my car collection, about my money. Money. I have money.
Carl excitedly hugs Annie and wants to lead a prosperous life with his wife and daughter when suddenly he realizes that Annie is not his wife but the janitor he pushed into the water.
You tricked me. You used me.
And want to try to explain, can be angry. Carl cannot listen to him, full of complex, rebuked and gas feel turned to the house to pack things. Can be in the eye is full of good memories. The thought of leaving this place for good and the overwhelming sadness that came over him as Carl finally got into the car surrounded by his family and his 3 daughters screaming and banging on the window.
I'm sorry, don't leave me. I want you here with me. I know that your love is gone. I can't breathe, I'm so.
Carl saw it all as if he heard the sound of heartbreak. When he returned home, he seemed to be a completely changed man who showed no interest in anything and even suggested to his father to reduce the workload of the workers even though he was ridiculed, and the peaceful family was also lost in the vitality of Carl's departure. Even his once favorite pasta is hard to swallow, and knowing that Carl is on a yacht at sea, he decides to fight one more time for his future and that of his children. Carl was now begging his father to let him stay with Annie, and his father would not agree to this ridiculous request. Just as Carl was at a loss, he saw a boat approaching him and hurried to take a telescope. The picture turns out to be of the man he was longing for, knowing that his father would not stop the boat, so he jumped into the sea at all costs, and his father threatened that once Carl left today he would forget about the life of the rich. Carl is still determined to choose Annie and baby my life. Annie was so moved that she immediately jumped into the sea with Carl, who was ready to live a life of poverty. What he didn't expect was that one day 6 months later the butler showed up at the house and said that Carl's father was a typical man who was worse than his body.
Pesos?
Told him to drop off a little bit of family startup money. Carl finally married Annie in a grand wedding on a luxury yacht, and their love story was the envy of countless people. Some people say that only the right people can not separate for a lifetime, but the real soul of the two people even across the gap between heaven and earth can also bravely rush to each other with the brush of love to write moving stories and melodies. Well, here is for better life. Subscribe to us for more. Thank you.